Jake Humphries Platinum Sports Picks. This is for PSP ATP, and it's also for Gumby's Tennis Picks or Tennis Tips, pairing up with Clay Kelson in the lead up to the Aussie Open, and throughout the Aussie Open we're going to be working in tangent with each other, kind of trying to, iron out some flaws in each other's games and just really get a roll on. I feel like if we put our heads together, we're going to be very hard to stop. Clay and I are still going to have our own plays, and we're still going to back ourselves individually with our own picks, but there will be certain picks that have a bit more strength about them or have some higher staking about them if we do both agree. And I think we're going to tread carefully with the kind of the ones where we're butting heads, but at the same time Clay and I go against each other quite a bit, and we're still going to be working individually, but it's going to be under the same roof, so in the same groups and things like that, kind of like what we were doing with the Golbus group, except this group is going to be a paid group where people are going to have to give us money to get our picks, and that's on the basis of the results that I've turned in recently, and Clay as well over a longer period of time. So these picks are all free though. We're just going to talk about the Davis Cup. It's on tonight. It's going to be the start of the tournament or the frame, if you would say, between Croatia and Argentina. And Croatia are coming into this one with the home field advantage or the home court advantage. It's on the hard court, which is going to favour the players that they have. It's going to favour Karlovic heavily. It's going to favour Cilic. They've got Borna Koric as well. And one other player. Actually, I've forgotten the last player that they have. Argentina have Juan Martín del Potro, Federico Del Bonis, Guido Pella, and another player as well. I've actually forgotten the last two players of each pool, and the reason I have forgotten them is because they're not playing tonight. In this podcast, we're going to talk about two matches that are being played tonight. The first match is on at midnight, Sydney time, between Marian Cilic and Federico Del Bonis. And the second one is Ivo Karlovic versus Juan Martín del Potro. I believe that is the order of play. I think that Cilic is first before Del Potro, but we're going to have a look anyway. I'm going to use Sportsbet to talk about the odds that I can see for this game. Yeah, so it's Cilic versus Del Bonis at 12:05 and Ivo Karlovic versus Del Potro at 2:30. I'm probably going to release a pick for at least one of these games, definitely. If not one, both of them. I'm happy for tennis to be back. My record, my PSP ATP record in the last 2 or 3 months, I haven't recently, in the last week, updated my tracking, but I could give you an estimation that I think my record is something like 60 and 36 with a running stakes total of about plus 30. I am in a very, very good mindset right now where I'm really picking winners left, right and centre, NBA, tennis and NFL in particular. I'm pretty close to unstoppable at the moment, doing a really good job, and I'm really looking forward to expanding my expertise and expanding my work to other groups, and I just want to help everyone out. And that's what I'm trying to do. Now, let's try and help each other out with this one. I want you guys to give me the feedback on what you think about this match. I'm going to keep this podcast pretty short, about 10-15 minutes. We've got Marian Cilic versus Federico Del Bonis. Now, the line here is -6.5, of course. This is a 5-set match, or best of 5 set match rather, which is exciting. Which I'm really happy about it. We've got some 5-set tennis coming back to kind of get us in the groove for the Aussie Open. The line is Cilic -6.5. Now, Marian Cilic obviously made it to the London World Tour stage. He lost to who did he lose to? He lost to Stan Wawrinka in straight sets. I think Cilic actually went 1-2 or 1-3. There was another player that he lost to that I can't think of right now. Andy Murray. So he lost to Andy Murray, I believe, and then I believe he lost to Stan Wawrinka, and then he got a win. His most recent match was a win over Kei Nishikori, which was really impressive. Cilic is one of those guys who, he can come back. He's a fighter. He's not normally going to tank. He's not normally going to slack off. And if he gets beaten, it doesn't come down to his effort or his intensity. He does have flaws, and he can get played off the court by good players and good opponents. But he's relatively mentally sound throughout his matches. He played against Kei Nishikori where he dropped the first set, I think it was 6-4, and then came back and won the last 2 sets. And this was a game, I've posted about 10 tennis picks in the last fortnight, and I think that was the only one that I've lost. I was on Kei Nishikori with the money line, and we came up short there, and Marin Cilic really proved us wrong. Now, Federico Del Bonis, this guy is an interesting character. Just quickly to reverse back and touch on Cilic. Cilic is a hard hitter. He likes the quick surface. He has a very, very big serve. He has a good forehand. His backhand his ground strokes are decent. He generates a lot of power, and that favours the hard court, the surface favours the way he plays his tennis. But his biggest asset and his most damaging asset is his serve, and not too dissimilar to his Croatian counterpart Ivo Karlovic, who is also playing tonight. I'm just going to get a look at Federico Del Bonis because this guy's interesting. He kind of came onto the scene at the beginning of this year, or in the last 12 months, really. He won an ATP 250 tournament on clay, but isn't really as impressive on the hard court. He's an Argentine, and normally when you're from South America, you've grown up playing on the dirt, and you've grown up sort of rallying on clay and kind of not really fine-tuning your game on the hard court as much as what you would like. Now, Federico Del Bonis, his last match was against Gilles Muller on the 29th of the 10th. So, Federico Del Bonis hasn't played in about a month, which makes me a little bit apprehensive about this match, because when somebody comes off a lengthy layoff, they have the potential to come out and play really well. Marin Cilic played about a week ago, the 19th against Nishikori, so we're looking at about 6 days ago now Cilic played, and I think Cilic looked really good. I don't think Cilic looked horrible throughout that whole tournament. I just think he got outplayed. He still looks strong. If I had to put a lean on this one, I really like Marin Cilic with the handicap. When you're talking about a best of 5 matchup, Marin Cilic needs to come out. Let's talk about a scenario where we would see Cilic covering. So let's say Cilic comes out a bit sloppy. He loses the first set 5-7. Okay? So when he has a 6.5 game handicap to cover, a 5-7 lost set will then mean that he needs to cover 8.5 games in the next 3 sets, or the next 4 sets, depending on what happens. So he loses the first set 5-7. Let's say he comes out, serves first, gets a double break, he wins the second set 6-1. Okay, and I can certainly see Cilic producing a 6-1 set against Del Bonis. He then has to cover 3.5 in the next 2 sets, because he's got a 5-game advantage in the second set. Okay, so then he comes out and wins the next one 7-6. Then he has to cover 2.5, and then he wins the last one 6-3. So if Cilic was to lose 5-7, if Cilic was to win 5-7, 6-1, 7-6, 6-3, he's covered the initial line of 6.5. If Cilic was to come out and win 6-4, 6-3, 6-3, so only a singular break in each set, that would be enough for him to cover the handicap. And I think, given what I've seen Federico Del Bonis do on the hard court, he's a fighter. He could certainly win a set in this match. It wouldn't surprise me. He's going to be fresh. But, yes, he's going to be fresh, but is he going to be rusty? A month is a long time to not be playing. I don't know a lot about Federico Del Bonis. I don't follow him on social media. I'm hoping that his coaches have had him preparing and playing on the hard court. And this match I'm more apprehensive about than the second match, just because I don't really know what Del Bonis has been doing. I don't know. I haven't seen him play on the hard court. I'm sending this podcast in to give you guys a look into what I'm thinking about the matches. I'm not going to be sending any official picks, but I will tell you that for this game, I like Cilic minus 6.5, but I am apprehensive just because of the fact that Del Bonis has spent so much time off the court, and these guys who have taken time off the court, they can come out and really play well. And could Cilic be a little bit fatigued? Maybe. He has played a lot of tennis in the last 2 or 3 months. So Cilic minus 6.5 for a lean. You'll get an official pick a little bit later. Of course, the game not starting for another 3 hours or a bit more. You potentially get a pick a little bit later, but for now I'm just going to give you my thoughts, and I'm going to jump straight onto the next one, which is going to be Ivo Karlovic versus Juan Martín del Potro. Me in particular, me personally, I'm more excited about this one. This one is probably could be a little bit more closely contested, but in my opinion, Juan Martín del Potro is going to have no issue beating Ivo Karlovic, and beating Ivo Karlovic pretty handily. Let's talk about what's happened between these two in the past. Okay, so Ivo Karlovic and Juan Martín Del Potro have played 5 times before. Okay, Del Potro has won 4 of the 5 meetings. Now, prior to their meeting last month, they hadn't played since 2012, which makes it a little bit tricky. Juan Martín Del Potro in 2012 was injury free. He was. I'm not saying he has an injury now, but pre-injury Del Potro, when he won the US Open, he may not be quite there yet, but we're getting the feeling, and when I say where, I mean Clay and I, we are getting the feeling that Del Potro is very close to his booming best on this surface. Now, when he played Karlovic only a month ago, he beat him 6-3, 6-4. Now, that he has covered a line of 4.5 in 2 sets. Tonight, we need him to cover a line of 4.5 in 3 sets if he wins in straight sets. Now, the problem is, the reason why this line is so small is because Ivo Karlovic is such a heavy server. He leans on his serve, he doesn't get broken easily, and it's just tricky, you know. Ivo Karlovic, he often plays in a lot of tiebreakers. Now, let's say Karlovic goes to the first set and loses a tiebreaker 7-6, right? Okay, so Ivo Karlovic loses the first set 7-6. Let's say he loses the second set 7-6 as well, right? So after that, Del Potro has to cover 2.5. Then in the third set, after 2 excruciating tiebreakers, Ivo Karlovic, who is a lot older, he shows signs of fatigue a bit more than Del Potro. I was a little bit worried about Del Potro's conditioning a couple of months ago because there were a couple of instances where he was fading late in matches. However, I think that he's warming himself slowly but surely back to the marathons, the big matches. I don't love Karlovic in a 5th set or in a 4th set, but I think that if he can start quickly and kind of begin to get over the top of his opponent, I really think that he can have this one over against Karlovic before we even know it. Even though Karlovic is such a good server, I think that he can really blow him off the court. 6-3, 6-4 was the last time they played. Before that, in a 3-set match in the Davis Cup, it was 6-2, 7-6, 6-1. A very easy cover for Del Potro. Before that, at Miami, on the hard, it was 7-5, 6-4. And prior to that, in 2011, at the French Open on clay, it was 6-7, 6-3, 7-5, 6-4. So he's generally had a good amount of success against Karlovic. And at this point in Karlovic's career, I think he's the oldest player on the tour. Del Potro's coming back. He's healthy. It's on Del Potro's favourite surface, which is the hard. Even though that is also Karlovic's favourite surface, I think when you're talking about 2 big hard quarters meeting, Del Potro is a little bit better than Karlovic in most areas. Obviously, Karlovic has that booming serve and is very good at the net. But when you're talking about, if Del Potro can get any part of Karlovic in a baseline exchange, Del Potro is going to win. If Del Potro can get a mediumly powered shot from Karlovic hit to his forehand, Karlovic isn't going to be able to return it. This match probably won't have a lot of long rallies. If Karlovic doesn't switch on when he serves, he's going to lose. Now, and he's going to lose convincingly. Del Potro can falter a little bit on his own serve. Sometimes he's a little bit apprehensive, he's a little bit casual, and he can't do that against Ivo Karlovic. However, even if Del Potro was to lose the first set in a tiebreaker or in a 5-7 or 4-6 scenario, I still think he can come back down and cover the 4.5. This is almost certainly going to be a play for me. Del Potro minus 4.5. I really, really like it. I've spent the last 15 minutes talking. I'm going to put this in the group now. I'm going to give you guys a chance to go over it, to listen to it. Let me know what you think. And then we're going to talk some tennis, and we're hopefully going to get a couple of winners, okay? I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you're ready to bet. I hope you're ready to win. I'll talk to you later.